I feel like we're here now.
We're here now. Hello, world.
Yeah, oops,
Yes,
not loud.
and welcome to South of Hollywood.
Hollywood. I'm excited. I got my mug. Two
Oh
glasses.
my gosh, I'm so excited too. And today I have an awesome guest, Mia Hall.
What's up? What's up?
Yes.
Hollywood. Gang,
Yes,
gang.
tell the people where you at, even though you're not in Hollywood today, but tell them where you at, what you all about.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm in NYC today. I am a producer. I create content on the web primarily, but also have been produced some TV shows. So yeah, man, and happy to be here. I'm the co-host of a podcast as well with my dad, Parables from the Projects podcast. You can catch us everywhere that you listen to podcasts, and also I have an organization called Brown Girls Glow where I teach young women how to grow, lead, own, and write their own destiny. So yeah, man, we out here just producing contents, telling stories, telling our stories, reconstructing the Black narrative, all the things.
Yes. See, this is why I knew you'd be so awesome to have. You just have done it all. It's so exciting.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So we're just going to get into our regular scheduled show. And let's get into, first of all, what are you watching in our coming attractions? Is there anything you're watching recently or anything you're rewatching or anything you're looking forward to watching? Like, what about you? What do you watch?
Okay, all right. Coming attractions. I love it because yeah, man, I do love film and television. I'm happy, to have the opportunity to work in the industry. But so what am I watching right now? Abbott Elementary. I have to mention that first. I love Quinta actually because I just had a dream about Quinta last night. It was a working dream. Y'all please get your head out the gutter. It was about work. No, okay. But yeah, like I just, but yeah, I love Abbott Elementary. She's so smart, she's so funny, and the team that works with her, of course, the actors and actresses on there. I mean, William Tyler James, is it?
Yes, yes. Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, just beautiful, a beautiful individual. But yeah, the comedian, the principal Ava, and I mean, come on, of course, Cheryl Lee Ralph. Like, she has an amazing cast on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're telling the story of school. I worked in education before. I have my master's in education from Harvard. Actually, that's where, like, I got part of my start. So education has a warm place in my heart. So to see a show that is so funny, that is helping people to, I know she, gave the marketing budget. She said, like, to schools and things like that. So she's doing things really for the education system, and people are, she just brought so much attention to, like, teachers' wish lists and things like that. Like, I love when work can go from on screen to to really helping people off screen and helping issues that don't get as much attention in the real world. So I have to shout out Abbott Elementary. Love that.
Yes. Yes, I love that show too. Yeah, she has a great impact campaign and they actually do a lot of, work around the show and in support of the show by helping others. And I think that's always great. Love that.
Yes, that's what I want to do. Impact. Like, I
Mhm.
really love impact. So I definitely wanted to make sure I make that happen.
Oh my gosh. Anything else? Anything else you're watching?
Yeah, so as far as what I'm watching, okay, so Abbott Elementary, definitely make sure that I watch that. Oh, Grand Crew. I really
Oh,
like.
I know.
Yeah, I really like that show.
Mhm.
It's the season ended now, but
Mhm.
of course, the first 10 episodes. I really do hope they get picked up. I haven't heard about a season two.
I didn't hear about them getting picked up yet. I thought they were really funny too, especially in the what is that, NBC? Is that an NBC show?
Yes, it's an NBC show.
Yeah, so it has like the NBC feel to it, but it's about Black people. And I'm like, hey, actually, it's a long time since NBC had like a Black centered show. Now that I think
Yes, and
about
they
it.
don't even have, and I don't know if this is, what I'm saying? Not to say this is why, but they don't have like a main character that is, like, really like a main character that's not Black. You know what I mean? That we're like
Yeah, exactly.
episode to episode. And I remember, like, you remember they were talking to Issa. She talks
Hmm.
about how they, Hollywood was like, or people suggested to her, make sure you have a white character so that, or like a non-black character so that, people can follow it. And now I see that they didn't. I mean, I know that I think the showrunner came off, Insecure. So, they're along the same lines and, from that camp. But I really do hope that season 2 comes back because I love Grand Crew. And yes, the come on, like black people in LA, like
yes,
just
living a metropolitan millennial life. I was like, love it. And all the guys are kind of funny.
Yes, and handsome.
And handsome, yeah, and definitely like playing with the ideas of masculinity, which I think are very necessary for Black television.
They hit a lot of spots.
They hit a lot of stuff. And then I love Nicole Byer. Like she is just straight up funny. She's a great actress.
She is a great actress.
Her timing is perfect, like every time. And I mean, if anybody's a star on the show, it's probably Nicole Byer. But but again, she's an outsider. She's very much a Hollywood outsider, and for her to have a mainstream show on NBC, I think that's a pretty big fucking deal. Yeah,
we love to see it. We feel like we're back in the '90s with like UPN or 2000s, whenever UPN was popping. Like I just recently saw an article. Yeah, my friends saying they love her too. Hey, Daryl. But yeah, they I remember them talking about, and I think it might have been, I don't know who said it in his interview. I think it might have been William Tyler James, but
I think it was,
it was, right? Who said like there was this whole era, and I remember too. I literally remember thinking like 5 years ago, I think, just when on every weeknight I used to be able to see a black show at prime time. Fresh Prince, Sinbad, we had, Martin. My cousin is there too, like Martin, you know what I mean? We had TGIF where we had Family Matters.
Yes.
Thursday night, I can't remember what was Thursday night, but Sinbad was on like.
And then eventually we had in Living. And I was gonna say there was Living Single. There was the Martin show. It all blends together at this point.
Moesha,
yeah.
At some point, but UPN was an era with all those with the Wayans brothers, with Jamie Foxx show. Like, come on, we had some shows.
And I think there was just everybody at that time had some black programming, so they were either like if they were worried about integration in that at that time, like, so there wasn't always like a white character on a black show because people were still very much like, let's keep them segregated. So they were like black shows because they really only had black people on them. And but then when that became popular and profitable, it was like it did expand. It was like all the networks had at least one or two really good prime time black center shows.
We saw a strong black lead on somewhere.
Somewhere. So that was actually probably a real shift in television. And I guess they just kind of had the backlash to that, So then the 2000s, it kind of was like, oh, where is it going? And really it was forced onto cable. And I would argue, and which I've argued many times, this is really what gives rise to Netflix, was the need for diverse television in the late.
We were like one to get right on. Yes.
Yeah, we were just tired of TV being only that. And I think black people especially were looking at television and being like, well, we're happy, at that point Martin's gone, all the successful black people are off TV. It's like, where are we, And then people were saying, oh, no black shows, don't put no black shows, they don't make any money, they're not profitable. And Netflix was like, okay, give us all of those black TV shows you guys had. Like
when they got Girlfriends and all that stuff, I mean, we went crazy. The internet went crazy.
Yeah. So that's definitely what it's all been about. I've watched a lot of crazy things. Speaking of crazy black television that's been online, I watched the Queen's the Queen's something on BET with Ava Pigford.
Isn't it called Queens?
Yeah, is it just called Queens?
Brandy with Eve.
No, that's another show. That's a show where they're like rappers. This is a show on BET where Eva Pigford from Real Housewives of Atlanta. All the Queen's Men, I think is what it's called. Yes. And she plays like,
because I did an interview with I think he was the creator, he's only Christian, I think, with Eva. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because see, I didn't understand. I was like, what am I watching?
Girl.
Like, what?
But okay, but did you watch all 10 episodes? Like,
So I
did you?
watched all 10 episodes. First of all, if you're out there, world, yes, explain it to me. Number one. Number two, drama. So much drama.
All the
And again, there was like moments that I wish they actually would have delved into and talked about that they just kind of like gloss over.
Okay.
And then the stuff that they like spend all day talking about, like, I'm like, okay, is this ever gonna move the story anywhere? Like the writing, I was like, is she just improving? What is going on?
Right. No, yeah, it was interesting. And I have an interview that's not published yet with Black Enterprise with Christian. I think it's Christian Keys. That's what I'm talking about. Christian Keys. He created the show because he had the book. He had the book.
Yeah, was there a book? Okay.
Yeah, and then Tyler Perry, told him to run with it. So I know it's a lot of shows to keep up with, but whatever. Yes. But he was talking about just like how I guess he had friends that were like in the industry and they were telling him like all these stories and stuff like that. So, and I was like, it's interesting. Like, of course, to humanize, you know what I mean, people.
Yeah.
And, in these industries, of course, where they're not doing interviews every day talking about, this is the behind. Nobody's doing the documentary on them, so it's interesting to have like a TV show that focuses on like male exotic dancers.
Which is funny you should say that though, because I'm pretty sure literally the first weekend I was in graduate school, we had to go to like a documentary film fest made by our previous students, and I'm pretty sure it was a documentary about male strippers in Miami. Wow. And that was his whole premise was, nobody ever talks to the male strippers, so we need to talk to them.
Wow.
So it is definitely
somebody has.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But no, it's
TV, right.
But it's definitely a taboo. It's like there's a taboo.
It's taboo, right.
Yeah. And so it is interesting.
I told him that too. Like I was like, I don't know if I can watch this or whatever. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Some parts or whatever, but also like the storytelling it's just interesting.
It is pretty. No, it's interesting. No, first of all, it makes good television because it's lots of drama. It's so dramatic. It's so like extreme and off the chains, and shit just don't make no sense. And then it's just resolved, and you're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, no, you're true. I can tell you're a writer. So.
Oh yeah, I'm just like, I'm always just like checking it all out. But yeah, I mean those are just a few things that I've been watching. I actually did go see Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Is that the one with Tiffany Haddish?
No, that is the one about it's supposed to be like a MCU superhero, but it's the Asian woman.
Oh,
and yeah, it's the lady from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is like the main character. Okay. Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Actually, it should be in yours. It's so good.
Okay.
It is amazing.
Nice. I love that. Okay. I can't wait to go to the theater again. I mean, like I went like I think once since the pandemic, but I definitely look forward to like catching something.
No, that was the most people I've seen in a movie theater, first of all, since Get Out or Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like since a real movie. Yeah, it was like full audience. And this is like the third week it's been open or something.
Oh, okay. So it's recent.
Yeah, so for it to be a full house the third week in Hollywood terms, that's a hit. Like,
where did you see it? Because I used to love ArcLight, man, and I heard that.
Well, I went to the Landmark. Yeah,
ArcLight is closed now anyway, right? Aren't they like waiting for new management?
I haven't been over there in so long. Okay. But yeah, I mean, on the one on Sunset, yes, the one on Sunset is closed. It's been closed for a couple of years. It actually closed before the pandemic, though.
Okay.
So I think once the pandemic hit, it was just a wrap for anybody else to buy it. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But it's been closed. Yeah, that dome, that iconic dome. But I think like the city like signed some agreement that it would be maintained as a theater. Okay. So like whoever they sell it to has to open it as a movie theater. They can't like tear it down.
There could be so many things there.
Oh, I mean, and I'm sure it would be, but like now it's like like that's what they're saying. Like, they want it to remain a movie theater.
Yeah, I hope so. I like that. I feel like I don't want to go there and it's like Applebee's and that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right. In the big dome, and you're like, this used to be a great movie theater. Like, yeah.
right.
Well, that's Hollywood for you.
This
So,
is why we
yeah.
South Hollywood. You know what I'm saying?
And speaking of things, that are like, changing all the time. So we have this great segment. This is my tea time, girl,
Okay.
And this is where it's like, what's the tea? Tell us. Yes. What do you know about Hollywood? What are you like concerned about? What are you checking out? What grinds your gears?
What grinds my gears about it?
I know.
I think what's the like hard parts? Yeah, it's an uphill battle. And I think that I don't like, I mean, even though I don't like it anywhere, but I don't like kind of judgment anywhere, but I don't like it in Hollywood. I'm trying to think of like the hurdles that I've had
Mm-hmm.
that that I'm just like, ooh. I mean, it's a hard, but I feel like I went into it like knowing it was gonna be hard. My expectation was that it was gonna be a struggle, so I think that going into it like that, I kind of expected all of the hurdles that I have to face. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think when people like say they're gonna help, but then they really don't. What's happening here? Yeah, they like say they're gonna help, but really don't.
Mm.
So I don't like that. Or yeah, because I did meet like a writer one time. He was like, yeah, just DM me or call me. We're gonna do coffee. Da 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 da. Da. I DM this person like 3, 4 times. Following up, like not even like not like every single day, whatever, and like comment every post, like spamming them, but just like in a way like a professional would like
Yeah.
information as you told me. You know what I mean? It's not even like I said, oh, let me take you out to know. He was like, oh yeah, we're gonna get whatever, like. And then
That's
just
very LA. Very LA.
yeah, so I guess that's one thing that'll grind my gears like that. You make a promise and you don't keep it. So I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah, speaking of me on that level, speaking of that, it's something that I've kind of learned to. So this kind of like this is what gets on my nerves basically.
okay.
But to go to like what you're saying, on the nitty gritty day to day work and just how people deal with each other, in this industry, you actually like if you're actually working in this industry, you're actually going to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
So people that actually work in the industry really don't say much, because you don't say anything until the project is ready, until the project is popping, until it's done, it's in the can, So what grinds my gears are people who are always talking about what they're working on because I'm like, there ain't no way.
Girl.
When you get to yapping, we working on this, we on that, we on this, we on that, we on, especially in LA, especially in Hollywood, then I know for a fact we ain't doing shit.
Okay.
Because if you was actually working in this industry,
you're not really talking about it.
You can't talk about it. Yeah. So that's mine.
You know what? And I will say just, just to reiterate and like, I mean, not that you need,
yeah,
you need it, but I remember the first time I interviewed Will Packer, that's exactly what he said. Cause I was like, what's your piece of advice, for anybody that's, like trying to make it in the industry? And he was like, don't be a talker, be a doer. He was like, a lot of people in Hollywood talk about what they're going to do, talk about what they're doing, talk. He was like, if you're a doer, he was like, that's what'll separate you. Like, you want to actually be doing things, not just talking. Oh, I'm about to do this. Oh, I'm about to, like, no.
Right.
Girl, yeah, no, that's good. That's good stuff. Man.
So that's been my advice. And I feel like there's a lot of things that I work on that I just, either if I never work on it, never come, great. You never even heard about it.
Right. Yeah.
But if it works out and everything's together and it's lined up, then hey, you're gonna see a post like, hey,
this was me. You see me in the credits. You see the
right? Like, and that's what people be like, "Oh, did you work on this?" Yeah, that's why
that's why I'm posting about it.
I'm posting about it. It's done. I was working on that. Yeah. So
In the past tense.
In the past tense, we already did that. Already.
Yeah, right. I love
Yeah,
it.
so that's my advice for y'all. If y'all out there trying to make it in Hollywood or get to LA, hey, just be prepared to actually do the work, sign the NDA, keep it moving.
Okay. There we go. I love it. Love it.
So why don't we get into, just chatting about your life and, what your journey has been like. Tell us everything. Cause I think I met you in LA. So, tell us how you got to LA and what you did here. And
yeah, we met at the had the pleasure of meeting you at the Vision Board event. I forgot the host. I don't know if you remember the host name.
I don't. Yeah.
But it was a nice event. Mm-hmm. I know that I found out about it through the LA Urban League. Mm-hmm. And the LA Urban League is a big part of my story. But I'll start my journey in film and TV. I remember as a kid with my little cousin, he's right here too. But we used to take my aunt's video camera and record each other and do like these like fake broadcasts, like, hey, the weather is going crazy, you know what I mean? So it's like I had a, and we used to, of course, just watch movies all the time. But I had an interest in film and TV then, and then my dad, we started hanging out when I was 6. After he came home from prison, and like he went to a boot camp, and like that really turned his life around. The last time he went to, he went upstate, and yeah, he had an opportunity to do like a boot camp program, and that like really helped him turn his life around. That, and then he came home and got saved, so that helped turn his life around. So he also always used to take out me and my sister to the movies, like that was like our thing. So so yeah, always liked it growing up. And then when I went to school, I grew up in the projects. That's where Parables from the Projects, the podcast, comes from. And just saw a lot, of course, growing up there, and was always interested into entertainment because that's the only place that I saw Black people being successful, to be quite honest. So then I got involved in like sports in high school. And I went to Hampton University, majored in sport management. I went in as a broadcast journalism major because I thought I was going to be like Carson Daly. I was like, I wanted to do, TV, media, stuff like that. But, just wasn't as fast of a writer as I thought I would be. So did not make it on that in that school at Hampton. And then I chose sport management since I knew I played basketball. I love sports. Then after got my degree in sport management, went to Harvard to get my graduate degree in education. Was not thinking about Harvard, but my pastor had talked about this scholarship that you had to be applying to one of the top schools in your major. And that's the only reason why I was like, oh, let me consider like Princeton or Yale or something like that. Like, but I wanted to study education because I saw the children in my neighborhood, like we could be from the same place. We could be raised in a single parent household. But some kids were motivated and some kids weren't motivated. So I was like, what's the disconnect? So I was like, I need to study education to be able to find the disconnect. Boom. All right. So we got the sport management degree. Then we went to Harvard, got the education degree. Then I worked at the WNBA, and I worked in sports for like 10 years. But I always had that knack for media. Like I wanted to come back in media. I took this class and they were talking about, just the impact of media on the world. Like Marilyn Monroe, committed suicide. Her picture is on the front page of the paper. They said suicide rates went up like the next day or something like that. So that always made me have an interest in media. Boom. I'm working at a high school, 5 years. Year 3, I do their blog because, this is when the internet was, granted the internet was, big by then, but blogs were starting to get popular. So that's really where the media thing started, blogging. And then they asked me to go to All-Star Weekend and report. So that's where my like reporting started coming from. Then I started to like write for Black Enterprise magazine in 2011. And that was like my first professional writing. And then, just kept writing, wrote for Slam magazine since I was in sports, and kept doing that. Fast forward, started working for the Brooklyn Nets. That was more, and was still doing broadcast stuff for them, media stuff for them, but community management, still had that education. And then in 2015, the Mike Brown, like, shot that boy, just graduated from high school, and you're gonna, try to frame him as a thug. Like, granted, we always saw that the difference between the thug picture, in the media, and like, no, he has a graduation picture. Like, this boy just graduated from high school. Why don't you put that picture up there? And you trying to frame him as some thug? Like, I was like, no, 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 no. Trayvon Martin, all of them, that made me like, no, I have to use my gift to fight for social justice. So that's when I was like, no, I got to go hard for storytelling. I got to tell these stories of Black people that are like nuanced and, different, because, we don't just have one thread. We are not a monolith. Like, no, so I knew. So that's what I did. And so that was my prayer from 2015 to 2016. 2016, started working at NBC BLK. And so we told Black stories for NBC.com, basically, NBCnews.com. And so, yeah, just love that. Of course, did that for a year. I was like, if I don't get another job at NBC after this year contract, I had a year contract there. If I don't get another job by the time it's over, I'm moving to LA. So that's when the whole, because people were like, oh, if you want to get into film and TV, move to LA. So I was like, okay, so they say to everybody. And so I did that at the end of 2017, after working with Black Enterprise, like in the office, and grinded it out, of course. Top of 2018, I was a freelancer. I was everything under the sun. I didn't come to LA with a job. I just came to LA with a dream. And I don't even think I had money in my account. I had money in my account because I had a going away party. So people had gave me money at this going away party. And, for like 7 months, I, freelanced as everything, PA to, just everything under the sun. And of course, networked. And I was a part of LA Urban League, and we had an event, you know what I mean? Like with the like entertainment committee, of the LA Urban League. Shout out to Jasmine. So we had a panel with James Bland. We had Denise Davis, somebody from Marvel. We had Ayanna Henderson, who does social media for Steve Harvey. And I had, and my friend, just out of the blue, my birthday weekend is when I got a job with Steve Harvey Show. But my friend that I met in a media class in New York, she was like, hey, you still in LA looking for a job? I was like, yeah, girl. So that's how I got to, I interviewed, at the Steve Harvey Show, and, started working there in 2018. And I've been basically working with Steve Harvey Global ever since. And so that's really how I got my like official start in TV. And, since then started the podcast in 2019, because I really want to tell the story of how I went from the hood to Harvard, and how my father went from Rikers Island to righteousness. And yeah, man, I was just talking about Miss Furman, my time at High School Sports Management, but yeah, so that's what the podcast is about. And, so we're still managing that. Let's see, 2020, of course, the pandemic, you know what I mean, hit. But I was still working with them, started working with Vault Empowers, his motivational brand, but we still produce educational content. We produce courses on a learning platform through vaultempowers.com. So yeah, so still doing that. It's still producing video, social media content.
Yes.
Me and my dad, we love doing our TikTok. So, I'm a creator, I'm a storyteller, and I just, that's what I love to do. Brown Girls Glow came out of an idea because I was speaking a lot, just about my story and encouraging others. And, my coach had said to, do a program for high school girls. And so, I did, because I knew that so many people helped me in high school, to shape my career. I wanted to do the same thing for the girls. So our next session, starts in May. So we'll have every Wednesday in May, I lead a virtual session with girls. So it's like a mentoring program, and I tell them about different things, developing their character and building their relationship with God through my church, Faithful Central Bible Church in LA, actually. So yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So much. So many amazing things.
But I wanted to kind of, tell in some kind of way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about like that Steve Harvey. What was that experience like? What type of jobs, or tasks did you encounter there? Because I never worked for a network television show. I'm always so interested in that. What does it take to do something like that?
Yeah, so I was a production assistant there for, for the last season on NBC. Now they're on Facebook Watch. So yeah, I was telling my cousin earlier that we used to do dating segments. So I used to have to look for bachelors and bachelorettes, to just get matched and even come up with concepts for like a dating segment. Like, somebody came up with a concept for like a lie detecting segment, and they actually had like, the guys, like they were asking them questions, and they had to like tell the truth. It was just so much. But so we have fun stuff like that. We had to come up with games that they would do to win prizes for our sponsors. And then mostly though, it was like looking for stories, honestly, which I loved. Doing research, looking for stories like these viral videos, but stories of people that, I did a bookstore. I think it's called Mahogany Books. So like, this couple, Black love, they met, got married, but they both had a love for books, used to go on dates like to the bookstores all the time, and they had an idea to open up a bookstore together. They opened it up online. They had been doing it for like 10 years, so my producer had found an article on them, and I had the opportunity to help produce that story. So and then like this guy that did the beatboxing, I had an opportunity to write his script, like, just where he came from, and how he got into like beatboxing, and now he's like this viral sensation, of course. So yeah, so it's just been those were the type of things that I did. What else did we do? I think that was primarily it. But seeing people that like save people's lives, like we had this one kid that like he listened to The Office like that, ha 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 ha, staying alive. Staying alive. Like he did CPR on this woman, like, and he only knew the beats because he watched The Office, and like they did that during like the CPR training. So so it was stories like that we like, okay, I gotta research now. I gotta call the guy, try to call his job, and try to get him to do an interview with us. So so it was a lot of fun. But yeah, so a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's so interesting. I mean, you kind of came at a time when things are really transitioning. And you mentioned the pandemic. How have you seen kind of network television change, or even in that brief last 4 to 5 years, and even like the Steve Harvey show, what are some of the lessons you learned as things kind of transitions?
Yeah, some of the lessons that I learned, huh? Well, I mean, I feel like um, right before the pandemic, I switched to like the Vault and Power side. So I had the opportunity to, work on Vault and Powers like maybe less than a year before the pandemic. So I didn't see, the shift like, as an employee, but as a different part of the business, I definitely saw how, Facebook Watch, he had to do it without an audience and things like that. So, of course, for like a show host that's used to like having a studio audience and, feeding off the energy of the audience, like that was something that was a big difference. But, I did see how, he had to adapt. He had to, to adjust to that change. So that was different. In the past, yeah, I mean, I can't say, well, I mean, over that year, I definitely learned to be thorough. Thorough in your research, thorough in I was thorough, thorough in just what you have to do and be persistent. I think because when you're like looking for bachelors, when you're looking for bachelorettes, when you're looking for a story, you're trying to chase it down. Like you have to be persistent and creative. Like in the hood, you have to be creative. Like when you're trying to like make a meal, you know what I mean? Or if you're trying to like, get the TV to work. I mean, the antennas using wire hangers as antennas. I mean, that takes creativity. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all the creative things that you saw. While you were, at least while I was in the hood, I transitioned it to to today, because change is the only thing that's constant in life, right? That's what my pastor, Dr. Ebenar, always says. And we went through a lot of changes. So yeah, I would say those are probably the biggest lessons that I learned.
Yeah. And now you mentioned that you work like with global. So what is that like? Is that more corporate? And what do you think is important about having someone like you in that corporate space?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely more corporate. Um, and I think that yeah, having someone like me in that corporate say thank you. I really don't even but having somebody with I think with my depth of experience, because I had experience in education. Like I said, I worked in a high school for 5 years, but I've also been through so many professional development programs, and that's really what Vault Empowers is. So yeah, I think having those years of experience, I have like you know uh, I'm like trying not to age myself, but I've been working for like 15 years, so it's like I have experience in media, you know what I mean. And while I was working these corporate jobs, like with the Brooklyn Nets and these education jobs, with the high school sports management, it's like I was still also writing stories. So it's like double the experience, even though it was 15 years, it's like I was still working double time because I was working on the weekends on the media stuff, on the education things during the day, on the corporate things, with Barclays Center and the Brooklyn Nets during the day. So I think that they definitely, benefit from, me having all of that experience. And then, being like somebody that consumes and has an interest in the internet and, social media and in media in general, and like is able to, watch the trends, see what's about to come up, see what, has passed, to stay up to date on all of that. I think that and still have that corporate background to be able to say, okay, this is the marketing, this is the numbers, like this is how to put it together. Like, I think that I contribute in all those ways. So
Yeah, no, I just think that's great. I mean, I don't
thanks, Rika.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's more black people there because it is also a little bit more black centered, but most corporate jobs are very white. So, I'm always interested to see how black people survive that kind of environment and and what it's like for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or just like
Yeah,
advice.
Steve Harvey Global is definitely he keeps the brothers and sisters in there.
Oh,
But
that's what's up. We need that too, right? But yeah, one of the things I always, notice about you is what your use of social media. And I'm just like always like, oh my gosh, this is like a crew following this girl around. Like, how does she make these videos? You really make like the videos they use for like Google commercials, like where they're just
oh
like
girl, oh speak those things, girl.
of just great life. How do you do it?
Prophesy over my life. Yes, Google, if y'all hearing this, holla at your girl. You know what I'm saying? I gotta
Okay.
call you, okay, or two. Wow, no, I love that. Thank you. But yeah, no, nobody follows me around. I mean, I actually did have, not to say people follow me around, but like my cousin Michael, he was my first cameraman. So I did have, like media people. So, but that was like years ago. That was like before I moved to LA. I had actually one of my former students at the High School of Sports Management, he used to work for me too, like as far as recording my like speeches, recording my like, whatever I needed him to record. But now, pretty much I do I do it either things myself or I ask my friends, what I mean? To like, okay, can you get this? Because I have an idea. Like if I have an idea, I intend to execute it. A lot of 9 times out of 10, especially when it's something that I feel like can either be helpful to people. Like if I'm doing a review of like a coffee shop, which I love. I mean, I love coffee shops. So yeah, so whether I'm doing a review of a coffee shop or like a place to go, and I love to like be around people. Granted, I feel like I'm more of an introvert, honestly, because I feel like I get energized off of being by myself. But I also like love to be around people and love to help people and like provide resources for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I like hosting people, and I really like to make people laugh. So if I'm going to do any of those things, with the video, like I'm going to do what I can to get that content and to produce that content. I love to, to tell those stories and to, if I could do something to make people smile, like that's what I want to do. So that's what I really do with my social media. Try to like, if I have to Google, or research like, okay, how do I actually do this to be able to do this and put this together and edit and all those things. Like, I've been editing now for years, with my blogs and things like that, and my YouTube page, Mia Hall Smiles, so yeah, so now I just do shorter clips, short form content on social media. Yeah, to
Okay, so you do the filming, you have a production meeting, you plan it all out. Do you do the editing too?
yeah, I do the editing too. Yeah, I know. At some point, look, if anybody's out there and y'all want an intern for your girl, or be an assistant, listen. Okay, we're hiring. Because
Well, and that's what I was gonna ask. What's your advice? What do you think works on social media? What do you wish people would stop doing on social media? Tell us how to be better like you on social media.
like me. Listen, I just do what I can with what I got. I don't know if you saw that Mariah Carey clip, but I do the best with what I can got. Okay, so what I like. I'll start with what I like. I like when people honestly are themselves. Like I see honestly Kev on Stage did a recent video just talking about like how it's not about the like owners of the social media, because they throw out so many algorithms and stuff like that. It's not about like how many likes or comments or whatever is that views that we get. It's really about how we feel about the content that we put out, because what happens after we put it out, after we create it, after we edit it, after we put our heart and soul and foot into it, you know what I mean? Like, and then it gets one like that, the result is not up to us. Honestly, the work is up to us, and the push to do it, honestly. And also, so all that to say that, like, when people create content, whatever it is, you know what I mean, because you're putting yourself out there, and honestly that takes a level of vulnerability too, like, because you're putting yourself out there without it being absolutely perfect. Like, that takes guts, that takes courage. But also I think that also just helps you to practice. Like, we're in this rehearsal, and a lot of times you're sowing seeds if you're not at the point where you want to be yet. So you're sowing these seeds every time you post a video. You're sowing a seed, you know what I mean? Especially if people that want to be producers and writers and whatever, creators, like, you're creating content, you're sowing seeds in the right direction. So that's what I like. Things I don't like. I don't like when people I don't like judgmental. I don't like when people are judgmental of other people. What else? I don't like
in their commentary, like on social media, judgmental comments.
Yeah. I just feel like everybody has their own, you know what I mean, like, stories, and nobody really knows them. So yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like people bash people, of course, you know what I mean, like on social media. Mm-hmm. I don't like when people, degrade, any type of gender, or, I don't like that. Degrading women, of course, not supporting Black women, of course, stealing other people's ideas, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, imitation is flattery, as far as the, like, okay, you made a reel, okay, make a reel, like this, whatever. But yeah, so I would say that's the stuff that I like.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like a preference of any platform? Is it like all equal? Are you on, I don't know, like, are you on TikTok? Because I just got on TikTok. I don't even get it, I think. Like,
yeah, honestly, so I've grown affinity to TikTok. Some people do say it's very addictive.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. But I have my like timer controls on it.
Yeah.
Just
I like that feature, actually.
Yes, that feature is amazing. Like, whoever came up with that, thank you. Because
I know
that's the mom.com. But yeah, if you can control yourself on TikTok, I feel like there's just a lot of opportunities. And I feel like TikTok is so, like, I don't know most of my followers on TikTok.
Right.
I mean, and I feel like that kind of goes across the gamut. On Instagram, I feel like it's very, like, personal, like, oh, my cousin, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Teacher, this, that, it's always so connected. And I feel like it's, kind of like, ooh,
yeah,
great on Instagram. And, I mean, it's great, flexing on the gram and, sliding the DMs, all this stuff. But yeah, I think, probably if I liked anybody, But then for different reasons, right? Because I love Twitter to see kind of like recent events. Like when the Will Smith thing happened, I went right to Twitter. Like, I'm not going to go to TikTok because I'm like, who knows, what path.
How long? Yeah, that'll take. Yeah.
For breaking news, like I'm on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like shows and Abbott Elementary. Like I'm looking at the Abbott, after the show, I'm looking at the Abbott hashtag because I want to see the jokes and memes that, what I'm saying, people are, people are talking about. But I do like the Instagram reels, but they're doing that, I feel like, because TikTok is so successful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely been their push to compete with TikTok for, yeah.
Yeah, and then I like YouTube because I can learn like anything that I want to learn. Like I was trying to get a stain out my shirt. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, okay, you use the Google of YouTube to, what I'm saying? Like, so I like the different platforms for different reasons, I'll say. But as far as like me putting out content, I do like TikTok. But me consuming content, I do it on depends on what I'm looking for.
Wow, that's so interesting. And I mean, you mentioned some of the work you do independently. Where do you feel like you get the most kind of traction or engage with the most people, or how do you do that?
Yeah, the things that I do independently, yes, I mean, our podcast is probably up to like, just speaking numbers, right? Which a podcast is probably up to like 2,500 listens, right? And that's just through Spotify and Apple, let's say. Because I think that's what my podcast, broadcasting app like shows us, right? So we have 2,500 listens there. Instagram, I have like 4,000 and some odd followers. And then Facebook, I have about 1,000. LinkedIn, actually, because I don't want to.
People be sleeping on LinkedIn.
People sleep on LinkedIn, but not the people that, you know what I mean, like make their money over there. Because some people can definitely make some money on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, I think I have like 5,000 contacts, but still, like, it's not, or maybe 500. I don't even know. That's how, I love LinkedIn, but that's definitely good for career advancement. But yeah, YouTube, I probably have like 300 subscribers. But I would say TikTok, I have like over 8,000 followers. So, and like they do comment, we have a lot of comments from them. So I'll probably say like, that's where I'm gaining the most traction. I'm the newest, probably that's my newest platform too. But yeah, we had a couple videos that, got like over 20,000, one is like 250,000. So, TikTok has been, really liking me and my dad's content. So, that's probably where we got the most play. But yeah, so that, I mean, that's the one,
yeah, I think just on that note too, I think what I like about TikTok is the fact that it puts you out to a wider group really that's not your immediate circle, because it can be sometimes hard to meet people with like interests, especially if you are trying to like grow your business, let's say, where it's like, okay, me as a performing artist, I'm not doing like ticket sales at an event anymore, right? It's all about how can I get people to like come to my website, download my album or download my music, purchase my product. And if I can't see anybody, I can't reach anybody, it's so hard to like get over that hump into like, regular customer world, and that's as an independent artist, just my experience. So you bring up a good point. I definitely got to use TikTok more because that's what I need at this point. I need random people to like support my business.
That's the thing. Yeah, you get the more random eyes, I feel like. I mean, on Instagram Reels you can, because you go to the explore page, but but TikTok is just, that's what they're used to. That's kind of like where they started.
So much fun. I love it. Well, I mean, just do you have any final words or thoughts of advice for any young people that are trying to get into TV and, journalism or sports? What would you tell them just from your experiences?
I would tell them to, one of the greatest things I heard at a career day, advice to students was like, when people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up, let them know that you want to be happy. So I think that, that kind of takes the shift off of like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to make money, I want to do this, da, da, da. Like, granted, all those things are great, You know what I mean? But honestly, like you have to be at work so much, people use work so much to provide for their families. Like, why not do work that makes you happy, or do work that you're like excited about? You know what I mean? So that's my advice. Like, if you're looking to get into media, TV, film, like make sure it makes you happy. Because you're gonna be spending a lot of time in it, you're gonna some long hours. It's like hard to do, but just first of all, make sure at the core of it you enjoy it. I know people say, "Oh, I feel like I'm not working." I feel like I'm working. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm
I know
happily
that's
working.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so maybe it's not all like like toxic positivity. Like it's not like that. But just at the end of the day, you should like what you do.
Mhm.
And then after that, I mean, be good to people, meet people. I think that relationship building is very important. But don't make withdrawals out of a bank you didn't make deposits into. Um,
Amen.
as far as that is concerned, and yeah, because it's not. They always say it's not just what you know, is who you know, but it's not only who you know, but it's who knows you. So stay in touch with people so that because you would rather want somebody to remember you when an opportunity comes across their mind than just be reaching out to them for an opportunity. So yeah, I would say you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. I always say that to people too,
Mm.
because association is very important.
Oh, okay. Well, now we associated. Hey. Trying to
Listen,
be at your level. That's so,
listen, and like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? This is
So
dope.
awesome. Well, tell us how people can follow you, how they can get in touch or, just see your work and watch those amazing videos on IG. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. So yeah, on IG is Mia Hall 19, Mia underscore Hall 19. And my website is miahall19.com. You can see everything there. My YouTube is Mia Hall Smiles, and I'm underscore Hall 19 on Twitter as well. And then Parables from the Projects, y'all can follow us at Parables from the Jacks on Instagram, and parablesfromtheprojects.com is our website as well. But yeah, and then everything else, I'm just Mia Hall. You look me, Mia Hall 19.
Check it out. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really love this special late night sesh. It's
Yes,
so
right. We
awesome.
made it right. We made it happen. So I'm happy.
Cheers. All right, y'all. Check us next time for our next episode of South of Hollywood.
Woo.
Peace.
Peace out.